Wow, Benji. Man, talk about, we're here talking about sustaining life. And you worked with such a purpose in sustaining your life, and look at now you're conquering. We can all do that. And I am thrilled to be here with all of you today. All of you that are creating a better world. And what a wonderful time to be part of this movement. There are more of us than ever, and we are starting to see some real change. You know, it is so important for us to make progress, continue to make progress, because there's no one company yet that is fully sustainable, let alone restorative. But together, we are starting to make the progress that is needed to be able to prove that a commitment to sustainability works. And we're convincing others to follow. Wouldn't it be great, after so many generations of taking, that companies give back so that we have thrivability in our people, our planet, and our businesses? So my commitment to sustainability, I think, started without knowing it when I was a teenager. So I was raised by a single mom, and I was very interested in issues of social justice, and I wanted to commit my career to that. However, she told me that she can no longer pay for all my education. I thought, well, to secure my financial future, I'll go into business. And I enjoyed my 6 years in marketing, but I had always felt like I sold out. Felt like business was selfish and evil. 1998, I went to work for Clif Bar and Company. And Clif Bar at that time was a small, privately held, quirky company. And I had just become addicted to Clif Bars after a run on the Chicago waterfront when my buddy introduced me to them. And I wanted a company that would combine my passions, outdoors and sports. Clif Bar was perfect. So as I went to work for Clif Bar, I started to create a snack that I can eat at my desk every day, and I thought, well, Clif Bars are a little much for that. And so I started dreaming of a bar that was lower in calories, had nutrients specifically for me as a woman, and would just taste a little more decadent than some of the other bars out there. So in 1999, we introduced Luna Bar. People familiar with Luna Bars? How many people eat Luna Bars? Yay! This is a whole nutrition bar for women, and at the time, we had no money. We put about $25,000 for our annual marketing and sales spend behind the brand, and didn't expect much. All of a sudden, the brand took off. The first year it was a $10 million business, and 3 years later, it became a $70 million business. Why? Because we met a need for women. And our company started to really grow and started to double in size. So comes the year 2000, and the multinationals began to buy up the energy bar companies. Power Bar was bought by Nestle, Balance Bar was bought by Kraft. And we were told as a small privately held company we'd be gobbled up by the big guys. We could never make it. We would never make it on our own. So we found a buyer. And Gary Erickson, the co-founder and owner of Clif Bar, found himself in his office. Has anyone read Raising the Bar? People know this story? Cool. Yes, Gil. I know you have. So he found himself in his office, and he had the investment bankers, the lawyers, and the company that was going to buy Clif. And sitting by his side was his 50-50 co-founder. And he had the contract in his hand and is inches away from signing Clif Bar away. His hand starts to shake. Says to him, I need to go for a walk. Walks around the block, comes back and says, you need to go home. I can't sell my company. They were floored. She was not happy, so she was moments away from millions of dollars in cash. So as a $90 million company at that time, we took on a $45 million loan to buy her off. That had nothing to do with investment capital. Gary began to articulate reason for making that choice. And what he said was, and this was the year 2000, remember, I want to use the power of a financially stable company to have a positive impact on people on the planet. And this was now, look, we're all talking about this and all really getting into how can we make this better and better, but at the time, there was very few companies talking about this. Ben & Jerry's, the Body Shop were making some efforts, but that was about it. And I thought, my God, if this is possible, if the business can really do this, it can be one of the most powerful sources of change. And business didn't have to be easy. So I felt like my life had started coming full circle. So in the year 2004, I had the honor of being named CEO of Clif Bar and Company. And I have a daunting task, which is how do I operationalize 5 bottom lines? Gary began to articulate his vision as 5 bottom lines, not just 3, this one was 5. Sustaining our people, our planet, our community, our brands, and our business. So my challenge was, okay, how do I operationalize this so everybody in the company is living by these principles? And we thought, well, we need a big time commitment from our people. So we started looking to our employee bonus program. Instead of bonusing people based on one bottom line, we decided to bonus them based on all 5. So let me share with you some examples of what we did. So in terms of sustaining our planet, we wanted to go from 0 organic ingredients to 70% in less than a year. And we wanted to do that without raising our price, even though our costs were going up, because we wanted more people to have accessibility to organic ingredients. And interesting, actually, at the time, we were asking our consumers, our Clif Bar consumers, would you care if we had more organic ingredients? They said no, it wouldn't make a difference to us. But we did it anyways, because it was the right thing to do. We believed it was the right thing to do, and we were able to accomplish that objective in less than a year. Sustaining our people. We wanted Clif Bar to continue as we grew to be a great place to work, with less than 1% voluntary turnover. And so what we did is we started to create a culture around food and fitness and caring deeply about people on the planet. And we did things like we paid people really well based on the size of our company. We had masseuses and hair cutters that would come on premise. We delivered organic boxes to people's desks. And we had personal trainers that we paid for on company time to work out with people. And this was incredibly motivating to people because it made their lives easier and more enjoyable. And not only that, it reinforced what we believe as a company, and people were living it. Sustaining our community. We wanted to give back 2,080 hours of community service on company time. That's about equivalent to 1 full-time person's hours. And so we had our people choose what they wanted to do. So people did things like they volunteered to help abused circus animals. They worked in community gardens. They delivered meals to the sick and the elderly. We built homes. We built homes in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. We built homes in India. And what we started to find was really interesting was that even though we were focused on one bottom line, we began to see that all these bottom lines interacted with each other. So we were focused on community, but it had such a positive impact on how our people felt when they came to work every day. Sustaining our brands. We obsessed about creating great brands because we knew great brands and phenomenal product were the basis of a lasting company. And last, definitely not least, is sustaining our business. So at this time, we were still paying off this loan. So we needed to find a way to make Clif Bar very profitable so we could do that and become financially self-sustaining. And in my 3 years as CEO, we were able to do that. We paid that loan down to zero, so Gary was handed his stock certificates back and completely controlled the destiny of his company. And I believe that was so helpful in doing that. I believe at my core that this is what made it possible, was looking at these from a standpoint of all 5 of these bottom lines. Because you see things in a whole new way, opportunities that you never would have seen before. So, for example, we had this plastic wrap that was over our caddies. And we had put it on there because it supposedly kept our product fresher. We obsess about great brands, right? Well, as we started looking at it, we realized it wasn't doing anything actually to keep the product fresher. It was having a negative impact on the planet. And when we pulled the packaging off, it saved us, right off the bat, $50,000 a year. We experienced tremendous revenue growth due to increased consumer support, consumer happiness, our employee happiness. So our business had an extremely positive impact because of this commitment. And, you know, I look back on these objectives, and for especially a group this progressive, they seem so simple to me now. But at the time, again, there were no precedents. We were floating on uncharted waters. And not only that, it really helped us to be able to learn ourselves and get our hands dirty with what it took in order to commit to 5 bottom lines. Also, it seems so simple and perfect when I talk about the story, but believe me, it was not easy. It was challenging the whole way. I mean, we ran out of organic ingredients, especially at that time. There was a shortage of supply. We had tremendous brand flops. There was one that I was responsible for. It was called Luna Glow. How many people have heard of it? Luna Glow? Yeah, nobody. That's because we pulled it off the shelf in 6 months, so you know, source of pride for me. And, you know, our employees were not always so happy. But the point was we stayed committed and we kept pushing forward, and as we got through these setbacks, we were able to make such progress. And the amazing thing to me now, so here's Clif Bar. It is over a $500 million company. Clif Bar is still committed to all 5 of those bottom lines and has made phenomenal progress since my time there. Now, I feel so incredibly lucky to have experienced this early on in my career, because it convinced me to dedicate the rest of my career to helping companies grow with this kind of philosophy. I also learned 3 more technical things, and that is to try, to commit, and to achieve. To try, commit, and to achieve. So in terms of trying, it is so important just to get started. Little things, just little things like changing out your light bulbs with energy-saving light bulbs. Having the utility company come in and do an audit and challenge your people to make some improvements against that. I was in the office that I share at Sonoma State. There's this little trash can. I don't know if you initiated it. It's this big. I couldn't believe it. It said something like, "All my trash is right in here." I was like, wow, that is a really cool way to motivate people. It's very visual and real. They get it in their gut. And what those kind of small steps do is they convince people that it can work and they can be successful. And that's incredibly important because the commitment, for those of you who have made this commitment, is hard. And it's a daunting task because there's so many setbacks along the way. But it is so important to try, to adapt, to learn, to keep adapting and trying. And importantly, as a formal leader in the company, your focus can't waver. Because if your focus wavers, everybody else's will. finally to achieve. I mentioned to you the cost savings, the revenue increases, the impact on the planet that we experience, the impact on our people and our community by this commitment. And believe me, once you make those kind of strides, you have people who are committed for life to making this kind of difference. And hopefully all these folks are going to continue to go out into the world and make a difference to people and to the planet. So after this experience, I was floored. I was amazed by what this commitment can do in all ways. And have an entrepreneurial spirit and began to realize that if I could start a company from scratch and build sustainability into the culture as part of the core purpose of the company, the road would be that much easier. So I talked to a colleague of mine, Neil Grimmer, and we decided to co-found a company. It's called the Nest Collective at the time. It's now called Plum Incorporated. And we based the company in a culture around sustainability. And we knew, importantly, in order to make this company work, we had to make sure we had great product. So we knew we wanted to find something that consumers deeply cared about, and in and of itself, the product in and of itself would make progress in just making people's lives a little bit better. So when my kids were 8 and 5, how many of you are parents? Right on, okay, so you can relate to the story, hopefully. My kids were 8 and 5. I was packing them a healthy lunch to take to school. Started to realize it was coming home as a ball of uneaten mush. Seen that before? The banana that's kind of all over the place and you can't get out of the box? Well, and then I would throw in an occasional junky treat to be the nice mom, and that would magically disappear at the end of every day. So I started to realize I was fighting for a healthy diet and I was losing. I was losing against the junk out there that, quite frankly, at the time, and this was in 2007, you went to Whole Foods and looked at the organic ingredients section there for packaged and convenient food. The packaging wasn't attractive to kids. It didn't look cool to go to school with that kind of packaging, and quite frankly, didn't taste as good for their palates. And my friend Neil Grimmer had experienced the same thing, as well as countless other parents who felt like they were losing against the garbage. So we realized there was a huge gap in the market for yummy, organic, healthy food that would be beautifully designed for kids and their busy parents. And we started the company with this core purpose, which was to help little ones develop a lifetime love of healthy eating, starting with that lunchbox. So we realized that in order to accomplish this and fill this gap, we needed to have a breakthrough in terms of product and packaging innovation. It just didn't exist in this country. That's why the gap was so large. So to do that, we needed a superhuman commitment from our people. So we started connecting people with our purpose. Not just, here's what we're doing as a company, but here's why you should care. And so we help people connect directly with that purpose. Some were parents, so it was an easy jump to what our core purpose was. Still others were extremely excited about the design challenge. Still others just wanted to work in a company that was fun with cool people. The point is, we didn't care how they connected. We just wanted to make sure that they did connect. So that commitment was challenged pretty early on. So Neil had found this package over in the UK. It's like this. You've probably seen this package all over the place now, right? At the time, this was 2008. You didn't see it really in this country. And we thought it was a great package, and we filled it with organic, delicious fruit puree for kids' lunches. So we were at the Natural Product Expo, the big natural food expo in 2008, and we were sitting in our booth, and we had this pouch. sitting in front. This guy comes walking over, picks it up, studying it, turning it over, looked at nutritionals, taking sips of it, and says, "Hey, I'm the national buyer from Toys R Us, Babies R Us." Now, at the time, our company was, it was probably about a $100,000 company. And he said, "You know, I've seen this package over in Europe, but for baby food. So I'm thinking of importing some product from there because I can't find it here anywhere. But if you guys can do this for me in 2 months, I'll consider taking you and not importing this product right away." Neil and I looked at each other and thought, 2 months in the food industry, that's impossible. But we took the idea back to our company, and we got everyone in a room, and we said, "Hey, you know, this is the challenge that's been set up for us. And this would be a huge task to take on. We're going to experience a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. You're going to work long hours." We're really motivating, right? This is our motivational speech that we get. "You're going to work long hours. We're going to run into roadblocks. We don't know how to do baby food." So our team took a collective breath, looked at us and said, "Let's do it." So we cranked, and we ran into probably every problem that you can imagine. Ran out of ingredients, the packaging didn't look right, the suppliers weren't moving at the pace that we needed to. We were ready to pull our hair out, but in less than 2 months, Toys R Us and Babies R Us had their product. And they ended up featuring us prominently on the shelf, and kept coming back to us for more rapid innovation because we were able to deliver, and we kept delivering, and they would display us. It was just gorgeous. You could cry looking at this shelf. And this was the domino effect that was needed to get other retailers to follow and make the product and brand visible to consumers. And so the company took off. And my point in telling you that story is because that happened because of people's commitment to our purpose. I'm absolutely convinced of that. And that continued throughout the life of our company in startup and growth. We also further connected our company to sustainability for efforts like, how many people have heard of B Corporation? Great, majority of this room. We became a B Corp very early on, and you all know it is a commitment to triple bottom line, people, planet, profit. And we opened ourselves up to audits, and we built this right into our bylaws so that all of our investors knew that this was our commitment. In addition to that, with so many states are passing laws so that it will help the company to be able to protect itself legally in terms of keeping this commitment. So all this was happening, the company is taking off, and so between the end of 2007 and just this last year, became a $100 million company. And so we decided to sell the company to Campbell Soup to get more healthy product to more kids, and also to give our employees a reward for all their hard work. And so far, Campbell's has kept our commitment to sustainability. In fact, we've just put a program in place called the Full Effect. And that is, if you go online, buy Plum product from the Plum store, we will donate a super smoothie to help kids who go hungry every single day. So again, I learned the same things, to try, to commit, and to achieve. In terms of trying, how many people are entrepreneurs in this room? Wow, that is so cool. Yay, no Sonoma State. Yay! So as an entrepreneur, that is the best time to get this commitment into your culture. It's right from the start because people come in with that mindset and get it. As an existing company, once you make the commitment, make sure that people understand why you're doing it and why now, and importantly, why they should care. And you don't have to be a formal leader of your company to get this started. Just find other kindred spirits and go for it. And you're going to convince others to follow. And by the way, the biggest skeptics, once they see the difference it can make to the business, they're going to come along as well. In terms of commitment, I believe it takes every single person to be committed to this journey. It is that important, it's that challenging. And connecting to purpose can help take it along in there. And finally, to achieve. 2 companies, I experienced what can happen, the magic that can happen from a commitment to sustainability. And I know so many of you are experiencing the same thing. Guys, we need to share these stories. We need to share them widely so people get what a difference it can make and others will follow. So in summary, not only is a journey towards sustainability possible, but it's essential, especially given our dwindling resources. So it's all of you, all of us that are part of this solution, and we share a common purpose. We need to get together continually at forums like these, like this conference, so we can learn from each other and build and improve and get others to be convinced to come along for the ride. So hopefully we will experience a world that's more just and sustainable for future generations of our people, our planet, and our businesses. Thank you.